Intro, baby. Welcome in. It is a loaded Monday East Coast bias right here on the Ringer Gambling Show with all of the takes, with all the reactions from Week 8 in the NFL. We got a Game 3 of the World Series to get to. It's the sports equinox, if that piques your interest. But football, right out of the gate. John Jastremski here in New York. Joe House in Washington, D.C. as his C-words get ready for the big bad Chiefs. Raheem the Dream Palmer in Las Vegas. And fellas, there are a lot of different ways we could go from, a take standpoint, from a wagering standpoint, as far as what we saw on Sunday. Here's where I'm going to start, Joe House. After what was a very successful and very profitable Sunday for your boy, there was one game that looked like it was going to be the cherry on type. It was going to be the icing on the cake. It was going to be the perfect capper to a wire-to-wire glorious Sunday. Pittsburgh Steelers had a 2-score lead. Pittsburgh Steelers kicked a whole lot of field goals, and the game completely shifted in the second half, despite the fact that Green Bay was the much better team in the game and was the much more explosive team in the game. And I know a lot of the takeaways, House, are always going to be centered around the quarterback. They're going to be centered around Jordan Love. They're going to be centered around Aaron Rodgers. Love is the guy who replaced Aaron Rodgers. That's not the narrative and the storyline of the game. The Pittsburgh defense stinks. So a lot of people are going to look at the Steelers and they're going to have, hey, what do you think about them in November and December? Yes, their schedule gets daunting. I know I've been flexing quite a bit, House, about Aaron Rodgers and being able to go and win a playoff game. That's not my point of concern. How the Steelers stopping anybody? I understand why the odds makers have the Ravens, with the return of Lamar Jackson, favorites to go win the AFC North.
It's been this way all season with this Pittsburgh defense. We handicapped it this way on the Ringer pregame show Sunday morning. JJ, I'm sorry you were lone wolf out there supporting Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh in the first half, basically ran according to script in terms of how they would pull off that game. It did have all the hallmarks and earmarks of Tomlin rah-rah spot, and that's why you got in on it. And it, was playing out that way. But if you can't defend the pass, then you can't compete in this iteration of the NFL. And for whatever reason, I look at the names. I look at the guys in that secondary, and I'm like, these are some guys with some pedigree, but there is a collective underperformance for that Steelers team. And I know the advanced metrics have been supporting it all season long. They're just bad against the pass, and I don't know why, Dream. I don't know why.
Yeah, I just think this defense is old. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, they had a 58% passing success rate on defense, and the Green Bay Packers, they generated first downs on 45% of their passing plays. And you look at that game, and it felt like the Packers left a lot of points on the board. Yeah, they scored 35 points, but they missed 2 field goals. They had a bunch of drops, and it just felt like the Packers were the superior team the whole night. And they finally got it going in the second half. And, that the strong thing about this Packers team is that they have a pass rush. They sacked Aaron Rodgers 3 times in that second half, and that put the game away. And I think we saw last night why people consider the Packers to be legitimate Super Bowl contenders, because if they get out into a lead, they can rush the passer and, they can cause some real problems for you. So it's clear that these two teams are on completely different tiers.
No question. And listen, the Packers got themselves a nice statement win. I've been kind of ridiculing them over the last few weeks of a team that, metrically wise is grading out in a fine manner, but something was missing as far as the eye test was concerned. Well, I got that flex second half against the Steelers, exactly the sort of game and spot you're looking for out of, to use your terminology, Raheem, a Super Bowl contender. No argument there.
This is the Ringer Gambling Show presented by FanDuel, and if you're betting on the NFL, FanDuel's the place to do it. They've got everything. Same game parlays, quick bets for when you want to jump in live and your way so you can set your own lines. The app's fast, it's easy to use, and best of all, when you win, you get paid out instantly. Download the FanDuel app or go to FanDuel.com/gamblers to get started. Must be 21 and older and present in select states, or 18 and older in D.C., Kentucky, and Wyoming. Gambling problem, call 1-800 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut.
I have to weigh in on these division odds, though. Raheem, Lamar's back on Thursday. The Baltimore Ravens are going to be laying 7 and a touchdown, 7 and a hook against the Miami Dolphins, a game they should win. Baltimore, despite the subpar record, I think even money. Is that a bet I want to be making to go and win the division? Because the Steelers' schedule is brutal. The Bengals just lost to the Jets. The Browns, enough said. I feel like minus 105, still getting a bargain with Baltimore. Yay or nay?
There's no value in that at all. It's everything is priced in. I mean, right now you have the Steelers at 4-3, and you have the Ravens at 2-5. And sure, yes, they have the Miami Dolphins coming up this week in a spot they should win as 7.5-point favorites. I mean, but then you got 3 straight road games. You're on the road at the Vikings, you're on the road at the Browns, and then you play the Jets. Yeah, they should win all of those games, but at even money, I think there's just better ways to play it. I think you want to play long tail outcomes. And I've been saying this for a while. You can get the Ravens at 22-1 to win the Super Bowl. I think that's the way to approach it.
Raheem, 25-1 on the Ringer Sunday pregame if you were watching 24 hours ago from your boy. Just saying.
Yeah, I think you have to play that. I think you have to play them to win the AFC, but playing them to win the division where you actually have to lay juice. You're not laying a full 110, but you're laying 105. There's no value at all. It's completely priced in.
I totally agree with that assessment. I much prefer playing them in a singular way, and it's that AFC number, because that gives you the perfect hedge. All they have to do is get there to give you the hedge option to if you don't like the way that they're set up. They'll definitely be on the road, for that AFC Championship game. So that would be my preferred play on the Ravens.
Fair enough. Okay, boys. Takeaway number 2, and Raheem, I'm staring right at you for this one. The Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be the classic up and down, zig and zag, roller coaster team because of the fact that their defense is simply inept. And that's what you saw in this game against the Denver Broncos. I know you were very passionate in your plea for the Dallas Cowboys. You had your Emmitt Smith jersey that I feel like you will not be rocking on any Ringer Sunday pregame show anytime soon. You mentioned the idea that we got to burn the jersey. We don't want to do that. I just wouldn't wear it on Sundays. Denver, they needed a flex game. They got a flex game. It was not a vintage Dak Prescott performance. But Raheem, your Cowboys, I feel like they're just going to be up and down all year.
Yeah, I think they're they're a slightly below average team. And I've just kind of accepted that. You have a offense which is averaging 41 points per game at home and about half of that on the road. I think when you get this offense at home on the fast track, on turf, they're a different offense than they are on the road. And we know the defense is bad anywhere they go. So this is just not a team that you really can, back with any consistency. I think you back them at home and you back them as an underdog. But outside of that, it's really tough to consistently back them.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And this was my concern going into yesterday. I voiced it on the show. There was a different, alchemy for them on the road, outdoors on the road, for whatever reason. We've seen this script play out now too many times, really not just this season, kind of over the years, where the offense just is not as effective on the road outdoors. So it was a proceed with caution kind of situation yesterday. I did indeed have skepticism around that Denver Broncos offense. I continue to be skeptical of it. I'll find opportunities, but here we are 6-2. And, if you told us at the outset of the season that Denver was going to be 6-2 through 8 games, all of us invested heavily in Denver.
Oh, and those
we did.
We would all take it. We would all
doubt.
say, great, 6-2 Denver.
And the crazy thing is, for me, it was so disappointing for me because, the first drive, Bo Nix throws an interception. Cowboys get it down to the 1 yard line, and you think they're going to punch it in. Instead, on third down, you get a false start. It's 3rd and 6. They don't convert on 3rd and 6. You kick the field goal. Broncos come down, score a touchdown, and now you're behind the 8 ball for the rest of the day. And it felt like in every third or fourth and short situation, the Cowboys couldn't convert. And then Patrick Surtain gets injured and they still can't score more than 17 points. The backup had to come in and score a final touchdown to get the Cowboys over their team total. But it's interesting. Next week, the Broncos play the Houston Texans, and naturally you're looking for a spot to fade the Broncos, but I don't know if that's the spot because the Houston Texans, they struggle against decent pass rushes. Well, the Broncos are one of the best pass rushes in the league. So I'm sure Anthony will have a lot to say about this game in terms of the total, but this is still not the spot to fade the Broncos. So I don't know when that spot is going to come.
I'm sure Dabbundo, who will join us a little bit later on in the show, will weigh in on Broncos and Texans, probably salivating over the idea of getting back on the under train with that particular team. Now, there were two pretty stunning results, I guess. It was a day of favorites. The favorites cashed in a big way. Miami outright against the Falcons. I had a feeling, House, that game stunk to the high heavens. It was 7.5. It fell to 6.5. Drake London didn't play. Kirk Cousins ended up playing, but forget about that. Miami, who couldn't stop anybody's rushing attack the entire season, found a way to keep Bijan Robinson in check, which is mind-blowing to me. So you had that upset. Then you had the Jets, who I want to give our guy Dabbundo credit. He was on it last Monday. He was on it on Sunday. Yet Cincinnati had not one but two 14-point leads, and you saw the Jets come back. Aaron Glenn wisely goes for two. They get a stop at the end of the game when I thought for sure Cincinnati was going to go right down the field and kick a field goal. And Aaron Glenn and the Jets get their first win of the year. More stunning, House. Falcons losing, Bengals losing.
Well, it's definitely the Falcons, except for they had Kirk Cousins at quarterback, and he can't be in the NFL. That was the more unexpected outcome because of the rush attack of the Falcons and the fact that they were home against that Dolphins team. Not only did Dabbundo have the Jets, that was my man's best bet yesterday.
I'm sorry, House. That's
I did
right.
give that out on our pregame show. Try to tell everybody, looking at the card, there were not a lot of eligible candidates for underdog upsets, and I certainly did not have the Dolphins. That to me was the most surprising one. But that we will see an entire house cleaning in Atlanta. I don't know if it'll be during the season here or the off season, but this is the end of the Raheem Morris train. This is the end. Zach Robinson needs to look for a job. They don't run play action. They are in the bottom 3 in the league in play action. They can't run it with Kirk Cousins because he's too slow. But the fact that they don't run it with Penix, the fact that they don't trust him. So teams at this point in the season are loading the F up. And if you let any NFL defense know that they don't have to defend one portion of the offensive game plan, even the Dolphins, with their third lowest ranked rush defense, can stop the goddamn Falcons because it's entirely predictable, entirely slow-paced, hot garbage, no innovation whatsoever offense with all of these studs. How can you have Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier and Kyle? There's nothing to Pitts. Like, the way to knock that Dolphins defense on its heels a little bit is some quick out stuff to the tight end and let stupid Kirk Cousins get comfortable. Nope, nothing to Pitts. The man didn't even get a target. We got one target in the first half. I mean, I'm so through with this Falcons team. It'll be great to find specific instances to fade them. I'm not sure whether or not New England laying 5.5 at home against this Falcons team, and this week coming up is the spot for it. But those guys, I hope their resumes are fresh. They better be freshening them up right now, because that was an abominable game plan and an abomination of preparation for a Dolphins team that's just ripe for the getting. Good job by the Jets. I have to give it. We've been critical all season long of Aaron Glenn. Them going for 2 at the point that they did in that season, that is, they mapped the hell out of
New
that.
age, House. I loved it.
There you go. I mean, good job by them, Dream.
Yeah, that was shocking for me because, like, the Bengals dominated that game through 3 quarters, and then they got outscored 23-7 in the fourth quarter at home. And then, some of the play calling for the Bengals was just downright awful. So you definitely got to give credit to Aaron Glenn and the Jets. But I mean, to me, that was the most shocking performance of the day because, through 3 quarters, I'm like, all right, this is playing out the same way it has all season, where the Jets take sharp money and then they go out there and do nothing. And then in the fourth quarter, they just completely turned it on.
Now, Dream, it was a Buccaneer win. I don't care how ugly it was. It was a Buccaneer win.
Yeah.
It was annihilation by Buffalo against Carolina. No surprise there. We were all over that one. Bully game for Josh Allen and company.
I actually was surprised about that one.
Really? See, I was not.
The reason why,
because that's what Buffalo does in a nutshell, dude. They beat bad teams. They were off a bye. They were off a loss. I
was more surprised that Andy Dalton being significantly worse than Bryce Young. That's that surprised me because it felt like when I'm watching the first half of that game, Carolina was in that game. And it made me think that if Bryce Young had played, this might have actually been a competitive game.
But he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't play. But I just was shocked about how poorly.
The moral of the story here is that it's yet another example of why I think Tampa is just going to be in cruise control in this division. They just are. Like, they're going to. They may lose some games.
Yeah.
They may get picked off in the postseason. These two teams, Atlanta and Carolina, are not pushing them. House, it's not happening.
Well, this is a great conversation to have right this second because I picked up on something that Cousin Sal and Bill on their overnight show captured. Fellas, let's just go ahead and do this. Why would we wait? Right now, we have the 7 teams that are going to make the playoffs in the NFC. I mean, tell me who's going to fall out. It's Green Bay. It's Tampa. Let's just go through it and
let's
then
do
come
the
up with
exercise,
it.
House. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
let's do it. It's Green Bay, Tampa, Philly, Detroit, the Rams, the Niners, and the Seahawks. The contenders.
Packers.
Push back on one. I would say Niners.
Okay, so here's who has to jump over them though. The contenders are Dallas,
maybe,
Chicago,
no,
Arizona.
No way.
But who else would you say in the NFC is threatening for that 7 spot against the Niners?
I love that you don't even put Washington in the mix. You just won't even list them. You won't even list them. You'll list Arizona, but you won't list the C words. I love it.
So you said Philadelphia, Green Bay, Detroit, Tampa Bay, the Rams, Seattle.
Yes.
I'm good with all 6 of those. I think they'll all make it. The Niners, to me, because
the Niners are 5-3 with the easiest schedule in the NFL, other than the Patriots.
I'm just saying, that's the team
they are a mash unit. There's no argument. You're right.
They could lose to the Giants this week. It's not inconceivable.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think the Niners make it. I just think at some point in time, you have too many injuries. And Robert Saleh, like the fact that the Texans offense looked as good as they did yesterday was an indictment on this 49ers defense and all of their injuries. And Robert Saleh is trying to blitz a little bit more, but they still can't get pressure. You not only lose Nick Bosa, you not only lose Fred Warner, but you lose Bryce Huff. And he had 15%. He had a 15% pressure rate for the 49ers. So I could easily see, I know the Bears are disappointing. Matter of fact, their schedule's so brutal. Oh,
no, I'm out on the Bears.
That's it. The problem with the Bears is they're 5 of their last 6 games. Look at how they end their season. That's the problem I have with the Bears. I think
it's Atlanta. I think it's Atlanta or Dallas, despite Raheem Morris being a problem, as you discussed, House. And he is a problem.
I'm not that Atlanta.
Raheem Morris is like he's a problem. He's a problem that a lot of NFL teams have. He's miscast as a head coach when he should be a defensive coordinator.
Great call. Totally.
He was a great defensive coordinator everywhere he's been, and every time he's a head coach, he's just not good. And I mean, and sometimes you just got to accept that certain guys should, like, if they demoted Raheem Morris, I think they would be in a great position. Just leave him at defensive coordinator and get an offensive mind.
The problem is they have a defensive coordinator who was an interim head coach for the Jets and had no business being a head coach in Jeff Ulbrich. So, they got a bunch of good coordinators on that team, and they don't have the head coach that you need. The game that lost me forever with Raheem Morris was the Atlanta-Washington game
last year.
Playoffs. A couple of years.
That was their playoff. That's exactly right. It was their opportunity to make the playoffs.
Beyond repair.
Yeah.
Before we get to Monday night, guys, I want to throw out 3 MVP candidates. And I want you guys to tell me who's the most live to win the award. Listen, we know Mahomes is the favorite going into Monday night. Of course, there's Josh Allen, last year's winner. You have House in corner 1, Drake May, who is lighting it up for the New England Patriots, a charming, soft schedule, and a team that could, in theory, be a top 2 seed in the AFC. You have him. And then I'm going to give you not 1, but 2 members of the red-hot, Anthony Dabbundo-led, Lou Anarumo-led, Shane Steichen-led Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor. And Jonathan Taylor is playing like a man possessed, and I get it. Quarterback award, bias against the running back. Taylor's doing some remarkable things. Out of those 3 guys, from an MVP perspective, who catches your eye the most? It could be odds-wise. It could be player-wise. I open the floor to you.
It's Mahomes. I mean, I'm just not going to move off of that. The other guys,
even money. Okay, fair
I
enough.
like the novelty concept. They'll get their hosannas, they'll get their flowers. But the guy with the target on his back, if they continue, the way this offense looks like, if you look at some of the game script that they're imagining for this week, there are still buttons to be pushed on that Kansas City offense that haven't yet been squarely. They're giving this rookie running back snaps. He had 28 snaps last week. People are playing his overs. I can't remember the kid's name. I'll pull it up here in a second as we handicap that game. But there are still levels to this, right? We're talking about MVP of the league. I have nothing but admiration for what the Colts have been doing and what Daniel Jones has been doing. We can't have Jonathan Taylor in the conversation because there's just no scenario under which this iteration of the NFL is giving the MVP award to a running back. He'll win Offensive Player of the Year. That's why his odds are, what are they, minus 260 right now?
Super juiced.
Yeah, crazy, right? Good. And he deserves it. It's absolutely appropriate. But I don't think that we're giving out novelty awards this season. To me, it'll be Mahomes.
Yeah, I think House is dead right. It's unfortunate because I think when it comes to this award, it's almost like a kind of a reputation award, and you got to have the pedigree. And unfortunately, right now, Daniel Jones doesn't have the pedigree, and he's 16-1. And the season that Jonathan Taylor is having, it's like if this were 15 years ago, Jonathan Taylor
would win the award.
He would win the award. But now everybody, I mean, you have guys like Aaron Schatz, Football Outsiders, FTN, who has basically said he's never voting for a non-quarterback because the quarterback is like literally the most valuable player. And I think we've taken the award from becoming most outstanding player to most valuable player in the most literal sense of the word, which kind of ruins the award for me. But the award is what it is. We have to bet what it is and not what we want it to be. So it's obvious that a quarterback's going to win this award. Now, I think there's not really too much value now. I mean, Mahomes is plus 135. And I think this week is really going to determine everything. If Mahomes, they can go out there and beat the Buffalo Bills, I mean, he's going to be minus money at this point in time. He's probably going to be minus 150, minus 200 or so. So I think this week pretty much decides it. But Drake May is playing outstanding football.
Well,
this
that's
guy,
how he's going to go.
It's awesome.
Any interest there or no?
I mean, at this price, I think you kind of missed the boat. But I mean, he's first in EPA per play plus completion over expectation. You're talking about a guy who is also 5th in success rate. So out of all the quarterbacks, I mean, you're looking at Daniel Jones, Patrick Mahomes, Drake May. I mean, all top 5 in both of those categories. Now, maybe Jordan Love is a sneaker if he can kind of turn things around. He's 16-1. He's also at the top in some of those categories as well. So there's still a lot of football left to be played.
That's what I'm saying.
And obviously, I think the biggest thing when it comes to MVP is that you have to be on a team that's probably the 1 or 2 seed, and you got to win around 12 to 13 games. So right now, the Colts are 7-1. I don't think Daniel Jones has a chance because of the season that Jonathan Taylor is having. The Patriots are 6-2. The Chiefs are going to have to go on a run. They're 4-3 right now. I mean, they're not going to. I mean, they're not going to have the season that they had last year where they went, 15 and 2 or whatever. They're going to have to, finish, 13-3 or, whatever. So
Yeah, 14-3 or 13-4.
yeah. So
which is not going to be an easy task with a couple of games against Denver, another game with the Chargers, obviously the Buffalo game coming up on Sunday. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Speaking of the Chiefs, good transition. They get ready for Joe House's Washington team, Monday Night Football. The spread in this game is at 11.5. The total in this game is at 47.5. House, short week for the Chiefs coming up. Such a classic look-ahead spot, knowing Buffalo in Buffalo awaits them in 6 days. Any chance the C-words can catch Kansas City napping after they laid the smackdown against the Raiders?
I mean, sure. It's too many points. I mean, this number is akin to the number that the Chiefs laid against the hot garbage, one of the worst 3 teams in the NFL, Raiders last week. Washington is not in the same class as the hot trash Raiders. Now, some of the pricing that's built in is the fact that it's Marcus Mariota starting at quarterback for Washington instead of Jaden Daniels. But this version of this Washington offense with Deebo Samuels and Terry McLaurin coming back is a better version of the offense than anything that Jaden Daniels got to play with this season. So the pathway for Washington to remain competitive is long drives. It is very helpful that Mariota is so familiar with this offense. And he's dual threat, right? He can run for first down. So that's how you sustain drives. You're not just 3 and out because you have a quarterback who's also very, very comfortable playing in this stadium. Has no issue at all going into Arrowhead, has a playoff win on his resume in this stadium, with a touchdown pass that he threw to himself. I'll never get over how much money I lost on that game. But there's a pathway for Washington to be competitive, and it would be, both taking the 11.5 points. It was 12.5 earlier in the week. People are buying into Washington a little bit, and the under, because the pathway is for Washington to limit possessions. And it might be a kind of situation where the Chiefs score 28 points, and that's probably enough. It's like a 28-19 kind of game, and it comes in a little under, and Washington is there in terms of the number.
Yeah, I just think this is a look ahead spot for the Chiefs. I think this is kind of one of those spots to where, like, I think House hinted on it. How can the Chiefs be laying, 12.5, 11.5 to the Commanders and also be laying that same number to the Raiders? And we know how bad the Raiders are. So I expect, the Commanders, they're coming off a beat down to the Dallas Cowboys. This feels like a spot to where they kind of keep this inside of the number. And then you also have the Chiefs on a short week against Buffalo. That's the game that's the more important game. This is a non-conference opponent. I think they get in and out with a win. So this would be Commanders or pass. But if I had to play a prop, I would be looking towards Deebo Samuel over 4.5 receptions. Obviously you do have Terry McLaurin coming back, but I think this could open up things for him. And I think maybe they get that short passing game going with him and Marcus Mariota just to make things easier. So that's where I would go with this.
Yeah, listen, I think it's a good spot, House, for your team to go and play a competitive game. They obviously were atrocious a week ago against the Dallas Cowboys. That game went AWOL. You know it's going to be Mariota throughout the course of the week, so you can game plan it. You can scheme it. It's not going to overwhelm you here like it would be bringing them in halfway through the game. And I just think 11.5 points is way too many points. Kansas City's got Buffalo coming up on Sunday. I'm going to hold my nose. I love doing that. But you know what? After a week where you had 10 zillion favorites hit, I think we're poised for a little bit of a market correction, maybe at least on Monday Night Football. So give me the commies plus the points, and I got to give you any times because I've been red hot with these. Deebo Samuel, Raheem, that's a guy I'm looking at to go and get me an anytime touchdown. He's at plus 260 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. I have that one circled. I also have circled Mr. Xavier Worthy. And I know Rashee Rice is back. I know Kelsey is involved. Mahomes likes looking for Worthy inside the 20-yard line. So at plus 165 for Worthy, at plus 260 for Deebo Samuel, and we go about our merry way. How's any interest in the total in this game, which is currently sitting at 47.5?
No, I think it's the right number. It's around the 48. It was all week. I think it might have been a little north of that, and people are starting to get their head around Mariota at quarterback. My favorite play, and this will be my best bet when we get there, but I'll go ahead and give it out now. There's two legs to Mariota. And literally two legs on the man. I like him over his rushing yards. I think it's sitting at 28.5, and I like him under his passing yards, which is at 199.5 or 198.5. Good, sort of substance to both of those in terms of the way that Washington runs its offense with him. He tends to get to 30 yards with his legs, and he tends to throw right around 200 yards. You can parlay those. I think it comes in around plus 235. I'll have it pulled up when we get the best bet time, but I think playing Mariota to run the ball a little bit and to throw the ball less is the right direction to play in terms of props.
Dream, you getting in on this total or no?
If I had to play it, I probably would play this over. I'm like at 49. I mean, I think this Chiefs offense has proven to be a wagon at this point in time. And I do think Washington should be able to score. So I probably would play it over, but I don't have anything official on it right now.
We're going to welcome Anthony Dabbundo a little bit later on. We'll break down all the ins and outs for Game 3 of the World Series. Dodgers are a massive favorite, so we'll have picks on that. But when we come back with House and Raheem, we will go through the pick of regret on Mulligan for Week 8. I think I know where the boys are going. It's going to be hard for me this week. Actually, it was a very successful Week 8. And the Week 9 bet that you can't wait to make. I have two that stand out. We're coming right back with the East Coast Bias boys. All right, I'm not going to waste any time. Raheem, I know exactly where you're going. Cowboys, right? It's got to be. That's your Mulligan?
By far. Yeah, I had a bad read on it. Honestly, I thought this was the spot to fade the Denver Broncos. I thought the Cowboys defense showed a little something the last couple of weeks to where, they were getting better, but obviously they had too many injuries and they just gave up too many explosives. I knew the Broncos struggled from a down to down perspective. But I just didn't expect them to get that many explosives. And then the Cowboys offense just didn't keep up.
House, is it that team down in Atlanta?
Well, it is, but I was all in on Atlanta over the course of the week before the fact that they moved to Cousins. So, I mean, you just have to take the loss when that happens. The Cousins announcement was Saturday.
There's nothing you could do. And London on Sunday morning. The surprise in that game, though,
Right.
House, is the inability of the Falcons to run the ball against the Dolphins. And I know, hey, the game plan stunk. They didn't coach Cousins up coming in after not playing throughout the course of this year. But teams have just been rolling out of bedhouse and running for 150, 200 yards on the Dolphins. So
Well, I think the defense deserves equal discredit. That Falcons defense,
it was bad.
it was bad. They couldn't
agree.
get the Miami Dolphins offense off the football field. I think the time of possession in the first half was like 2-1 in favor of the Dolphins. The Falcons barely had any possessions, and when they did have possessions, it was 3 and outs. I mean, that's a good recipe for getting your ass handed to you at home by an inferior opponent.
No doubt. Listen, for me, it's really a live opportunity I missed. Because, yes, we can document that I whiffed on Green Bay and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had a 2-score halftime lead, yet they were settling for a zillion field goals. The Packers had some weird drops on third down. Raheem, I have to imagine I could have gotten a really good number on Green Bay to win the game when they were down, like double digits at halftime? I must have gotten a really good number. You're not going to tell me what it is, but
I actually didn't look at I didn't look at it because I had Green Bay in individual contests. So I wasn't
just letting it ride at that point.
Yeah, but I normally look at the live lines. I just didn't look at it at this point in time.
Dabbundo bet it. He said
really
plus 260.
Yeah, I could have gotten a really good number. What are you going to do?
But I mean, the best live betting opportunity were the Jets. The Jets were like plus 1,200 at one point in time.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think it got even high. It might have been it might have got up to like plus 1,800 or so.
And we talked about in battle coaches. You could put Zach Taylor, House, supremely on that list. I mean, you lose to the Jets. Enough said.
What's the point of firing Zach Taylor? It's their personnel. It's a joke organization. general manager is a clown.
When you can
and
take it a step further, the owner is
the
really
owner's
the
a
biggest
clown. That's right. I mean, the fans of Cincinnati deserve so much better. Like I don't. What's the point of jumping up and down about Zach Taylor? They have we. It's funny how many worse defenses in the league we think we have in front of us. We say that about Cincinnati. We say that about the Dallas is in the running. There were a few weeks there where you could say it about the Dolphins. Certainly the Titans would like to put their hat in the ring. I mean, we have, what do we have? 6 worst defenses in the league this year. It's insane. But the Bengals really made their case yesterday. They made a very strong case yesterday.
All right, boys. Week 9, the bet you can't wait to make. It's a tricky week. Just going through the games, a lot of big favorites again. Couple of small favorite games. Yeah, Indianapolis lane 3, San Fran lane 2.5, Denver lane 1.5, the epic Kansas City Buffalo game. But then you got some stinkers too. How's the league go first here? What stands out in the week 9 board?
I'm sorry, Dream. I like the Cowboys laying the field goal.
No, this is a good spot.
I agree with you.
Even though Kyler Murray, the only problem is, House, you know, if Kyler Murray returns, he's the king of playing in that stadium.
And especially, we'll see how that line moves, right? Maybe it'll work out. So you would lose the line value that might be sitting there right now. So that's the uncertainty. But that was the one out of everything that kind of jumped out at me, opportunity wise. I don't want to lay any of the big numbers. I honestly think, I can't tell. I'm interested in your guys' opinion. Why are the Lions 8.5? Is that a McCarthy priced in, or is that Wentz? What's the Detroit Lions laying?
Oh, it's going to be McCarthy.
It's going to be McCarthy.
Announced it's McCarthy.
Have they? Okay. All right.
So interestingly enough, the Lions are 9-1 in the last 10 games against the Vikings. They've dominated this team. And then the Vikings have been bad. I mean, they pretty much, you look at last week against the Chargers, a depleted Chargers team, and they were never in that game. So I actually think this number should be closer to 10, to be honest with you.
Couldn't agree more. So this is why I was asking about the quarterback thing, because I'm going to plow into the Lions at this number right now. I mean, not hesitating, not waiting. The Vikings are bad. I mean, it's a shame, and we should have this conversation at some point. Not on this show. We won't subject everybody to it. But directionally, to take a team that was 14-3 and have all the talent that this Minnesota team possesses, and I understand all the good reasons for why they wouldn't want to pay Sam Darnold. You can't pay Sam Darnold, except for Sam goddamn Darnold. Yes, it turned out the way it did in the playoffs, but you're telling a lot of highly skilled players on that football team that this is going to be a transition year, that we're gonna punt on this year, because JJ McCarthy and Carson Wentz can't play professional football. Neither one of them.
They were banking on McCarthy making the leap, House, and he didn't make the leap, and he's been hurt. And when he was out there, he didn't exactly knock anybody's socks off. So I think it's rather important for JJ McCarthy now to come back and kind of hit the ground running. Like, people in Minnesota are not going to be waiting for the adjustment period or the rookie growing pains and whatnot. They're going to be like, all right, big boy, we got to win games.
Detroit Lions smash spot.
They've had a lot of injuries. They've had a lot of injuries on defense too.
So has every goddamn team in the NFL.
I get it. I totally get it.
I don't want to have revisionist history, because I wasn't high on Sam Darnold either. I thought
he choked in week 18 and he choked in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I did think that, they probably were making the right move to not pay him. But I think when you make that move, you have to be absolutely sure that JJ McCarthy is the guy.
Totally agree.
It's very similar to, it's very similar to what we saw with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. But the difference was Patrick Mahomes was actually healthy, and at Patrick Mahomes, we actually got to see him play.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see JJ McCarthy play at all.
And also Patrick Mahomes was him.
Yeah.
That's the other part of it.
Yeah. So, I think they made a more informed decision when they did that. And I don't know if the Vikings necessarily did that, because JJ McCarthy has just been so banged up. So, I do like that Lions line. I mean, that stood out to me. Some of the lines that stood out to me, obviously, and this is unfortunate because they kind of moved on air here. Last week, you could have got if you just looked at the look ahead line, you could have got Seattle -2.5. And it's now it actually
3.5.
3 this morning,
3.5.
and now it's 3.5 now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all the value got sucked out before either one of these teams even played a game. But I was looking at that. I mean, if you took it last week, I was going to kind of give this out last week, but we don't do look aheads. Also like the Bears. I think the Bears stand out.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a spot where I mean, they're playing Cincinnati. We know how bad that defense is. I think this is a spot to where they can kind of get right. As far as Cardinals Cowboys, I agree with House, but I think the better way to play is to play Cowboys team total over.
Okay.
That hasn't
fair.
dropped.
Bounce back game for Dak.
Yeah,
Good.
I mean, the Cowboys averaging 41 points at home. I think that's the way to play it. I'm kind of looking at, damn, a lot of these already moved. I was kind of looking at the Giants and the 49ers over. And then I was kind of looking at which one? Damn.
Are you going to steal Dabundo's thunder?
Yeah,
What,
I like
Bronco
the
Texan under.
No, I wasn't gonna steal that. I was looking at the Colts. I think this Steelers team is just super underrated. And you kind of have to ask yourself.
You mean the Colt team is underrated?
Excuse me, the Steelers team is overrated.
There we go.
You kind of have to ask yourself, if the Packers were laying 3 on the road to the Steelers, what is the difference between the Packers and the Colts at this point in time?
With the way the Colts have played, not much. The question is, are you going to get a stinker from the Colts, who have been so good and have been so locked in? Like, at some point in time, right, House, there's got to be a stinker coming from this team.
Why?
Because what are they going to go 16-1 this year?
No. I mean, they were in competitive games. They could have easily lost that Denver game. They did lose to the Rams, even though they could have won it. They're just going to be competitive because the offense, you knock on wood, because I like the way this Colts team is playing, and they were very good to me yesterday. If they continue to be healthy, they're in every game because the offense is so goddamn good. It's so dialed, and they have newly emerging guys, skill position wise. It's just a very complete offense. So as long as you have that, and they're keeping their defense off of the football field, then they're in every game. I mean, a stinker for them is what happened against Denver. A stinker for them is the loss to the Rams. Both of those games were super competitive. So I mean, I think it's appropriately rated that the Colts would be laying the same points as Green Bay. I think they're both in the same class. I'm not surprised by that number, to be honest with you guys.
Actually, this is one I probably should have gave out. Bears Bengals over 51.5.
I like that.
I have that at 50. I have that at 53.
Great.
Guys,
Great.
can I give out a stinker I like?
Mhm.
I love the Giants on Sunday. I love the Giants on Sunday.
I can see it.
I think it's a good. I know Scatterboo's done for the year. I know the weapons are dropping like flies. This is the sort of game. Giants don't win. They got the Lions. They got the Packers coming up. The season will just go completely off the rails for Dable. Like, this is a game. The Niners are so beat up. I saw the Texans basically go and put 500 yards of offense on them. The line's only at 2.5. Giants beating the Eagles at home. They've beaten the Chargers at home. They were in the game against the Chiefs, despite the fact that it was Russell Wilson at quarterback. I'm going to be on the Giants on Sunday. That's the one that stood out to me. And I'm not going near. To your point, though, House, on Indianapolis and the way they've played, I will not step in front of that runaway freight train. I don't know if that's the spot, though, where I'm dying to go and bet the Colts. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course. Makes perfect sense.
All right. Speaking of the Colts, we're going to take a break. Anthony Dabbundo is going to gloat about his Colts, about his Jets, about his wise wager record that doesn't count. I love it. And we'll also have some thoughts on Game 3 of the World Series. And are you willing to go and lay 2-1 with the Los Angeles Dodgers on Monday night? We're coming right back. All right, before we welcome in Anthony Dabbundo, I want to throw this out there. Double-digit underdogs on Monday Night Football since 2007. 27-9-1. Good news for you, Joe House. Just saying.
There's a bunch of good trends. The Chiefs coming off of that shutout victory, Washington coming off of the loss that they had where they were favorites. That sets up for a trend that where 2/3 of the time Washington covers this big number. There's a bunch of trends that support the idea of Washington in this spot for sure.
Dabbundo, the Colt jacket is on.
Yes.
Your team is as good as it gets. You had the Jets outright. You hit a team total over. Life is good for Anthony Dabbundo these days.
It's great. JJ, I can't believe how easy it is for the Colts. Like we were laughing, my cousin and I, watching the game yesterday, like, oh no, only got 4 yards on 1st and 10 this time. They really held us down there. It's so great. I didn't even feel like the Colts brought their A game for large parts of yesterday. I thought Tennessee's offense actually moved the ball. I thought the Colts were a little inconsistent offensively, but the explosive play capability of this group with Pierce, with Taylor, with Warren, with Pittman, you're waiting for the bad game, but there's nothing in the data that says it's coming. Like, yes, eventually they will probably not be the best offense of the century, but everybody's healthy. They have all 11 starters going right now. They have such a good complement of weapons. The O-line is mauling. It's been such an enjoyable experience. The main difference, I just talked about this, Indy was -3 next week, Green Bay -3 against Pittsburgh. The main difference is Micah Parsons, really. Green Bay has Micah Parsons, the Colts do not. So when the Packers have to protect a lead, when they're trying to get off the field on 3rd downs against Pittsburgh, a lot easier. Colts don't have any pass rush, really. DeForest Buckner's okay, but the edge rushers are not great. So I do think that Pittsburgh will move the ball on the Colts because everybody does, including the Titans. But I'm so excited. It's been such a fun season. Colts Chiefs. Circle your calendars. Mid-November. Could be for the one seed.
And listen, I think this game on Sunday is going to be a fun one with the Steelers because you're going to get a sense of desperation from the Steelers. Your team is as red hot as can be. And as I said earlier, Dabbundo, I, for one, will not be stepping in front of that runaway freight train. But it's 3-and-out time. The floor is yours. Take number one. What's it going to be?
We saw this yesterday, and I'm concerned that we're heading down the path of another redo of 2024 with these big favorites. And you're starting to see the spreads get really, really big. And I'm not saying that the favorites are going to cover 10 out of 12 games like they did yesterday. I think that's a little unreasonable. But, I look around at some of the defenses across the league. It feels as bad as it's been in a long time. The injury crisis on some of these, bottom tier defenses. You look at Chicago, their secondary is cooked. You look at Cincinnati without Hendrickson. It is one of the worst defenses, I think, of the decade. I'm not sure I know Dallas is up there. The Bears have been bad. The Dolphins have had their games, but week to week, when Hendrickson is not out there is no havoc, no run stop, no coverage. The linebackers are getting picked on. Like, this defense is so bad that they gave up 39 points to Justin Fields and some guys playing receiver, one of which I had not even really heard of. So I feel like the Bengals defense is not really an NFL defense at this point. It's like a good SEC team that they're rolling out there every Sunday on the NFL. And so that team continues to be like, there is no bottom. We have not seen the bottom yet. So I'm going to keep looking for it. And I just think that you have to be really careful with some of these bad underdogs because they're getting into places where you're like, 11's probably too many points, 9.5. It's like, it's a lot. But when the defense is offering zero resistance, like Chicago is, like the Raiders were, like the Titans and the other bad teams around the league, it's really scary because you just have no chance.
So I get that, Dabbundo. However, House and Raheem, I do look at a couple of the big favorites this week, and I do feel like there's a couple of queasy spots. Like, I'll give you an example. Atlanta, New England. That's a queasy
it's not that
spot
big of a favorite. It's not a big favorite.
No, I mean,
though.
I guess you're talking about what? The double digit.
At least,
variety.
I'm saying like at least a touchdown.
At least a touchdown. All right. So
I don't think Atlanta, New England is queasy because Atlanta can't play on the road, and we don't know the injury status of Michael Penix and Drake London and the rest of those guys. I think New England has kind of proven that they're a bit of a wagon.
You see, that's the thing about New England.
Offensively,
right? So
they've played a soft schedule, too.
New England has played this season. They played the team that's ranked 32nd in the betting markets, which is Tennessee. They played the team that's second to last, New Orleans. They got Cleveland. They played the Raiders. They played the Dolphins. Right. So they haven't had any games. The only measuring stick game they've had was the Bills, and we talked about that game when it happened. We were like, like they played well, but the Bills had what, 3 fumbles?
Well, I mean, where will we rank this iteration of Atlanta?
But you don't know who's
that's the
playing
problem.
yet.
Yeah.
Right. If
Drake London
Penix
easily can be back, that changes.
If Penix
the
and London are in,
calculus.
I'm going to be on Atlanta.
I'm with
5.5,
you, Dabbundo. I think
6,
I'm
yeah.
betting Atlanta on Sunday. I think I'm going to do it.
We'll see. I got to wait and see where we are on the injuries.
Not me. No
Yeah.
chance.
I'm
No way.
honestly, it's New England or pass. I think it's
Totally agree.
I think this,
Who's the dog you're thinking about, JJ? Because I'm looking at this now. I'm thinking of like, okay, there's 8 teams right now.
Is it Minnesota?
You could consider them. I wouldn't. I think McCarthy's unbettable.
We just talked about it. I'm smashing it. While
Yeah,
we were talking,
They can't stop the run.
See,
That
I'm
defense
not-
can't stop the run.
I'm not going near that game, House. I'm not going near that
I am
game.
all
And
over
the
the
middle-
Lions team.
The middle of the field is always open against these Flores defenses. Goff's, I think it's a bad matchup for them.
It's at Detroit at home. We've watched them do
Off
this.
the bye.
Yeah.
Detroit has dominated this team. Like better versions of this Vikings team.
Competitive versions of this Vikings team.
I mean, Detroit's
not a competitive-
secondary. We got to see where the injuries are.
Sure, yes. Definitely.
But I don't even know. I don't know.
The Vikings went
Robinson was
14-3
balling out
last year, and 2 of their losses were against the Lions.
Yes.
Fair.
Yeah, one of those games was really close.
The first one.
Wait,
The first one was really close.
even that game, I think the Vikings won by a touchdown.
Yeah, the defense couldn't get any stops for Minnesota.
I'm just saying, one of those big favorites. You just think it's going to be one of those easy peasy type of weeks again here, AD.
Well, I just don't really see defenses that are putting up much of a fight. That's my thing. And we got a couple playing each other this week. I mean, it's funny. Like we did this whole and my second take was going to be the Bears. We're going to talk about the Bears. I mean, I know Chicago's excited. They won 4 in a row. They were all like, Ben Johnson's doing the thing. If you just look at the gambling lines, I mean, they closed 2.5-point dogs on the road to Snoop freaking Huntley. Like it's very obvious what the market thinks of Chicago. And now they're barely favored against Cincinnati. Their defense with the cluster injuries in the secondary has no chance against Flacco, Higgins, and Chase this weekend. They're not getting any pass rush. They're going to be able to run the ball. They've actually run the ball really well the last 3 weeks. They're going to be able to run the ball all over Cincinnati. The first bet I made this week was over 51.5 for Bears, Bengals.
Yeah, Raheem was all over that.
Yeah,
I
Dream
see a
just
lot
gave
of
it
points
out.
in that game. There's no way in the world I'm betting the Bears in that spot. I'm out on the. I feel like the regression is coming for Chicago. That's my feeling on them, and we started to see it on Sunday.
I think the thing with Chicago is that over their 4-game win streak, they generated 15 turnovers. And it's like they're basically, to me, they're the same team as the Jaguars. The Jaguars, when they were generating all those turnovers, they had their win streak. And in the moment it stopped, they couldn't win. But I still think, I like the over in this game, but you saw this number got bet up. It was Bears minus 1.5. Now it's 2.5. I still think the Bengals probably have the worst defense. And I think this ultimately comes down to, which offense could perform better. And I don't know. I kind of just trust the Bears more. I think this is, I don't know. I think the over is probably the better play, though.
Okay. Next take, Dabbundo.
Well, it doesn't really apply a ton to this week, right? Because we've got some bye weeks coming up here. We get these rare opportunities in the NFL. They don't come around all the time. I think back to Dorian Thompson-Robinson last year, where you're just like, that guy is not an NFL quarterback. He doesn't belong playing in the NFL. And it's very obvious when you watch it. You're like, how can we bet against that guy in every way, shape, and form? You get these from time to time. The Cooper Rush Ravens are honestly up there. But when I watch the Browns and the Dylan Gabriel game back, that's how I feel about him. And I know that New England's defense is pretty good against the run. Like they were able to take out Judkins a bit there. I know the receiving room's not great, but this Dylan Gabriel situation, there are 5 what I'm going to call unplayables right now, where this offense is so not functioning that you're just not going to get any number where I'm like interested in backing them. And I'm going to be looking for every opportunity to bet against them. And the 5 that we have this season are the Browning Bengals, which I guess, we lost some money on betting early on. Dylan Gabriel. They covered that one game in the bad weather when Tua was just donating. But that's been pretty much it. This offense has been useless every other game. Cam Ward is down there in the unbettables, the
Titans
unplayables.
are in that category. I won't bet the
Yeah.
Titans under any circumstances. Zero.
Yeah. And you got the coach punting on 4th and 4
Oh, what
from
a
the plus
disgrace.
43.
He punts it and right down the field. I texted you
play.
guys that. I go, that's as cowardly as it gets.
And then J.J. McCarthy's on this list. It's only 60 plays. But let's be honest, like we watched that game. 3 quarters, they couldn't do anything. They had one big quarter. He won Offensive Player of the Week. Week 2, he was so bad against Atlanta. Sacks, fumbles, minus 0.23 EPA per play. It's really bad. And even if you just take the sample and you say, all right, who are like some of the worst quarterbacks that we've seen take the NFL field like in the last 5 years, just sorting by adjusted EPA per play. And I'll say, okay, you need at least 60 plays before we can have any reasonable claim about you. Trace McSorley, Mike Glennon, Jake Fromm, Skylar Thompson, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Jake Haener, Jeff Driscoll, and then look who shows up next. J.J. McCarthy. Right next to John Wolford, Brett Rippon, Anthony Brown, remember him? Nick Foles, 2020 on. So not the Nick
Disrespectful to
Foles.
Nick Foles, but go
Not
ahead.
the
Where's
Nick,
Nathan-
not the
where's
Nick
Nathan
Foles, not early
Peterman?
career Nick Foles.
Where's Nathan Peterman?
Nathan Peterman was before this. I don't
Nathan
think
Peterman.
he wouldn't be
Do
in
we
the
have
sample.
Tim Boyle. Is Tim Boyle on
Braylon
this
Allen,
list?
Cam Ward, Bailey Zappi, PJ Walker, Sam Ellinger, Tommy DeVito. Those are like the guys where you're like, when those guys are in the game, I want all the money possible against them. And McCarthy's on the list. Again, 60 plays, not a huge sample. There's more pedigree for McCarthy. But Detroit's going to be a bigger bet for me this week, I think.
Okay, so you would house on that. I was just about to ask you, the bet that you cannot wait to make for this card coming up next Sunday, maybe it's a bet for Monday night. Giving you an open forum here, Dabbundo. What's it going to be?
Yeah, like I said, I bet over 51.5. Bengals, Bears, and then the Lions. I really don't see this Viking defense playing up right now. I think it's just like an okay unit, and we give Flores a lot of credit. He is awesome, but there are limitations to that. And the way that they're not stopping the run right now, I mean, Vidal, we just watched them have 2 straight games. The Chargers couldn't run it on Indy at all, and then ran all over the Vikings. The Vikings' run defense has been a problem most of the season. That's a unit that can be picked on, and it's something that, a friend of mine who's like pretty sharp, he identified before the year. He's like, I don't know about the Vikings' run defense this year, and it hasn't been good. He's been right about that. So I go into it being like, well, if Detroit's playing downhill, gets a lead, forces McCarthy to pass, they're going to bring a ton of pressure on him. Darisaw is probably out. That's a bad, bad situation for a rookie quarterback, essentially on the road, coming off of an injury where he was god awful before. Now we know Detroit's going to look to score and run it up. So yeah, Lions for me.
Mr. Dabbundo, we have a game 3 of the World Series. The Dodgers answered back in game 2. Were you the one that suggested betting Yamamoto for MVP?
I bet Snell.
Cousin Sal loves Yamamoto for
Somebody
MVP.
in our group chat suggested Yamamoto for MVP.
He was 35-1 after game 1.
I got news for you. If this series goes 6, I think Yamamoto's going to win the MVP because I think he's going to shove again. He's been so lights out this postseason. He's on such a heater. Yet, I look at the line tonight. Dodgers and Glasnow have been great. I know the Dodgers have not lost a game at home in the postseason. And I know I'm putting my money on Max Scherzer. AD, am I crazy to think there's some value in taking the Blue Jays tonight?
My main issue with this matchup, I think the price is pretty right. I have the Dodgers minus 181. So I'm kind of like in the middle of the straddle there. My main problem is if you get no length from Scherzer, like the market only thinks he's throwing 3 or 4 innings. I don't have any faith in the Toronto pen in this series, especially as the Dodgers start to get more and more looks at the same guys, Fluharty and Hoffman and Dominguez, like as they get to see those same players over and over again. I think that's where the advantage actually tilts toward the Dodgers later in the series. So that's my main red flag. I mean, we're still a little early for that. I think the way to play this series is just live overs.
Why
If
live?
you had played
overs?
live over after the 5th inning, you'd be 2-0 in this series.
So meaning you'll see a lot more runs once we get the starters out of the game.
Second half, yeah, 5th inning onward. Because
You know,
these
that's
lineups do a
interesting.
great job. They have different ways of going about it. Like the Dodgers are so patient, and the Blue Jays are so good at fouling pitches off and keeping
putting the
guys
ball
in
in
at
play.
bats.
Correct.
Right. But not even just that. They grind you out by just foul ball, foul ball, foul ball, foul ball. Like that was how they got to Snell. And you can do that to Glass now too. So if he runs a high pitch count and he's out after 5, it gets really hard because without Vestia, the Dodgers bullpen is terrible. It's terrible with him, but it's terrible, terrible without him. So I think the way to play this game is runs late. Don't mind the over for the game, but I think you'll get a better number live. So I'm going to wait and try to grab like a live over 6.5, 5.5 after a couple innings. That's how I'm playing this.
I think under outs for Tyler Glass now is something you got to consider for this game. And you mentioned the bullpen for the Blue Jays. I'll give you a name, Dabbundo. I think this got to be a big Chris Bassett game. Big Chris Bassett game. The idea of him bridging the gap from Scherzer to the bigger guns you have in the Toronto bullpen. I think that's how Toronto can find themselves a winner in this particular matchup. Am I going to hit my over 5.5 games, Dabbundo? I need it.
I mean, you should.
All it takes is one. House, I need
You
one
need
more
one.
Blue Jay win. That's it. One more.
It's
Well,
possible.
you need one more for each team. Yeah.
No, I need one more, period. That's it. One more. Give me a
Well, Blue
Jay or
Jays win in
Dodger-
5, you lose.
Well, ideally, what I need
Probably not
here
going to
is
happen, but you
I
never
need
know.
Toronto to win one of the next 3 games. And then I have my Blue Jays to win game 1, Dodgers to win the series bets. That's how we
Right.
really profit in this World Series. So that's
And
kind of
did you bet Yamamoto World Series MVP?
No, sadly, I did not. I had a buddy bet
Ah.
Freddie Freeman for me like a dumbass, which is not looking good.
It's early.
It is early.
Nobody's done anything to the point where they're automatically.
Where it's like wow, you're the leader in the clubhouse at the moment.
There's
That's
no leader
fair.
in the clubhouse. If anything, it is Yamamoto, but obviously he will not play for the next 3 games. So we'll see.
Are you getting involved with this game at all, Raheem, or no?
No, I got
Nope.
nothing.
House, you playing anything for the World Series tonight?
I did a small bet on LA minus 1.5 tonight on the theory that Glass now just goes super deep and Scherzer splits on the road. I could just, if Dodgers come out, put up margin early and Glass now's cruising, then, a couple runs. That was price wise the only thing that I was willing to play. Minus
Feel good about
102.
The
All right,
Dodger who
gentlemen.
I like in this matchup offensively is Muncy.
Yeah, Raheem was over him for MVP. That was a play you gave out, Raheem. You liked Muncy.
Yeah, I did.
So I think him to homer is a decent bet, like live, not even live, just generally like he's live to homer. 4-1 I saw out there. I took Scherzer under strikeouts, but that got hit overnight. There's no value left. It got down to 3.5, which is kind of low. If anything, 4.5 was under minus 148. I would bet that if you saw it again. So just as a point to be made. But yeah, I don't know about this Blue Jay bullpen, nor do I know about the Toronto, the Dodger bullpen. I don't have a ton of faith in either group right now.
Best bet time. I'll start with you, Raheem. Floor is yours. You could look at the NBA. You could look at tonight's Monday night game. It's maybe the weekend in the NFL. What are we looking at, dude?
All right. Let's go with. I'm trying to see if anything moved. Let's go with the Atlanta Hawks. Go -2. This was I think they were dogs to open it up, but let's go with the Atlanta Hawks. I think this is a good spot for them. Bulls have been undefeated. I really like them. Let's also go with the Portland Trail Blazers. I don't like the spot for the Lakers at all. And then finally, let's go with the New Orleans Pelicans on the money line against the Boston Celtics. You got 2 teams who, in the Celtics and the Lakers who are on back-to-backs. So I want to fade those 2 teams. And then I just think this is a spot for Atlanta.
House.
I've got 2 plays. Both are parlays, but the Washington Chiefs situation, go ahead and break these up if you want. I have my guy Marcus Mariota under 198.5 passing yards and over 29.5 rushing yards. That parlay right now sitting around plus 235, but you can play those legs individually. And then while we've been talking and making the very compelling case for the Detroit Lions, why not a little teaser, a look ahead teaser? We have combined the Lions, taken them from 8.5 down to 2.5. Some books have them 8 down to 2. You can also put that with the Baltimore Ravens, who are sitting at 7.5. I'll pull them down.
Such
to,
an obvious
to
tease, isn't it, House? I mean,
this
it's
is
so
this
obvious.
is this is a look ahead tease. Go ahead and do it. That is those are my best bets as we sit here on this Monday.
AD.
Let's go Mahomes longest pass over 38.5 yards. I have said on every time that anybody will listen that I do not like this Commanders pass defense at all. Bobby Wagner really struggles in coverage too. So I don't mind like a Kelsey anytime touchdown look as a result of that. But I think that Kansas City is now hunting explosives again, which they really didn't do successfully for a while. And so if you're looking to go after this secondary, we saw last week that the Cowboys hit multiple big plays. Tyquan Thornton maybe will be involved, but over 38.5 from Mahomes' longest pass. I think they break one open tonight. Commanders bottom 5 explosive play rate allowed. So
I'm grabbing the points, Joe House. I'm on board. I think Washington makes this a game. I'm grabbing the 10.5. I'm holding my nose. Too many trends to back the C words here in this spot. I'm taking the New York Giants plus the 2.5. I think it's a good situation to get on board with them. Too many injuries for the Niners. Giants plus 2.5. I think they win outright against San Francisco. And Mr. Glassnow, under 15.5 outs, plus 122. I think we have a lot of runs in this game, Dabbundo. I think we have a fun game 3 of the World Series. A lot of bullpens, a lot of moving and shaking, a lot of action. Right up my alley.
I hope you're right. I mean, I think, again, as long as Serge's not getting too many strikeouts, he gets pulled early and then the bullpens cook each other. I think that sets up this game, because they're going to play 3 days in a row, which the Dodgers have not done at any point in these playoffs. This game has major domino effects for game 4 and game 5, especially since I don't think the Blue Jays think they're getting a ton of length out of Bieber or Savage in game 4 and game 5. So they need length from Scherzer tonight. If they don't get it, their bullpen's going to get really, really, really tested the next 3 days against this Dodger lineup. So I think it's a huge domino game where what happens tonight has major ramifications for games 4 and 5.
Boys, buckle up. Sports Equinox Monday. All the games. Enjoy Monday Night Football. Enjoy the World Series, the NBA, all that good stuff. For House, Raheem, Anthony Dabbundo, 5-day a week. Check it out. Ringer Gambling. We got you covered. JJ signing off. Good job by Stefan. Good job by Mikey Meatballs. Enjoy your Monday. Boys are out. Be good, everybody.
Must be 21 or older and present in select states, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. You must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York in New York.